Yeah, they're very conservative. They're very conservative when it comes to the stocks. Very conservative.
You certain areas of what have you that you will be awarded a location in. You just don't have the right to say, okay, I'm paying $1 million.
That's the same for everyone. That's the same for everyone. I know a guy. Well, he just died not too long ago. He had a bunch of which I don't know how they're still around. It's disgusting. But
neither do I.
That's awful. I have never had a good meal at but he had to be in certain too, because they had to displace his franchise investment, right? That's part of it, where he was like, this one place is killing me, but as long as I get this spot, when I average out the 4 spots, okay, I can turn a profit. So this isn't unique to the black community. What is unique is investments from the federal government and state government into black-owned businesses to rectify it that white people don't get. So it's not enough. So what would be enough?
Because of historical injustices that have been done to impede black businesses. So
it's not enough now.
Why
but what would
you have
be
to
enough?
ask yourself, why would they do that? Why would they pay that?
What's the number?
Oh, because conditions historically.
What's the number, right? Public Department of Education, Great Society, Model Cities program, black businesses, Pell Grants, affirmative action, DEI. It's not enough. What's the number that's enough?
Once again, just like we said about the civil rights movement, about the education and all that, you can do certain things in the name of doing the right thing, but you do it wrong. So
what's the number?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't personally have an answer to that question.
One moment, just one second. Would you agree that if a young person who has no connection to slavery whatsoever, you probably need a number for them? Otherwise, they're probably going to be pissed.
They didn't need a number for Ukraine.
Steven Crowder, they just simply want money constantly to just touch their bank account forever. That's what they want. If they don't want to tell you, they want a monthly allowance until they die from white people. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm going to say it. That's what it is. Coffee beans, they just want money from snow people until they die. That's what it is.
Sure, they paid them same taxes. They didn't need a number for how much
you're talking about reparations to a young person, right? In the name of sins of forefathers. My point is, what's the number? Because the number now is trillions of dollars. I get it. The government screws everything up, and I will agree on that. What's the number? You're sitting down right now with a 22-year-old white kid.
Give my daughter $15 million and we'll call it square.
$15 million?
$15 million a piece. We'll call it square. That's for me and for them.
And $50 million, okay.
$15 million. Look, since a lot of people don't care about their taxes, add an extra 2% to what you pay in taxes. How about that?
Damn,
2%. That's a number.
2% for how long?
Let's see. How long?
So it's 2% only for white people who have a connection to slavery at their forefathers, right?
How long were we in slavery?
You'd end up with no money. You'd end up with zero money. You'd each end up with about $14.99.
You keep letting our people off the hook.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the government paying taxes. I'm not talking about just people who are responsible. Once again, I'm not responsible for anything happening in Ukraine, but I'm paying for it.
I agree.
We all paying for it. Can you use some basic analytical, I don't know, like, can you use some brain cells here? We all paying for it. Jackass with another $5 super chat said, when I was working in the Key West, black men were my best clients. Very nice, tender, individually. In groups, they could be rough. Yeah, because they have a collective, it's called collectivism, right? They tend to be, they feed with each other. I used to live in New York City. I used to live in 275 Wall Street, close to Broadway Junction, very close to East New York. Taking the train to Hampstead, it was very dangerous. But when they get collectively, they feed from each other. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jackass.
So why should that rationale not transfer to this?
Because it's rationale.
It's not when the United States is the people who perpetrate.
Well, that's why I need to ask the number, because if you're talking about more than $15 per black person, you're talking about trillions of dollars.
Right, but if we're going to be a part of the same country, like Lane said, we're going to all be a part and members of the same country. Well, we have to take on what comes with that. What comes with that is historically, every time like Chris said earlier, every time black people have achieved in mass, it's been torn down. No. And then you get to a point
where you're talking about the riots,
Then you get to a point where you're like, I can mention there's several black communities that's under lakes. There's one that's under Central Park in New York. Like, there's plenty. But my point is, then you get to a point where you say, okay, we're gonna do this in the interest of justice. But then redlining and all that stuff happens, and then the prison industrial complex. All of that stuff happens that adds to the wrong of it.
Look at Steven Crowder. He's like, oh my goodness. You're dealing with people that cannot understand propaganda. He's like, man, I'm dealing with this
And then the
conversation.
prison industrial complex, all of that stuff that happens that adds to the wrong of it, it gets mixed in.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we tried, and you should just be happy.
Here's
with
the problem.
it.
What you just said, it was the rhetoric and the reasoning behind catch and release, doing away with the 3-strike policy. You point to New York. You got a black mayor and crime got worse.
Because he's a criminal.
And because you got 30 million people living in
a white guy before him. He was grabbing, grabbing every guinea intern.
And probably the white guy that put him in his spot.
Okay, so it's worse. In other words, it's worse, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the prison industrial complex. That's why that guy was out 14 times.
But I'm saying that's also why you have less fathers. That's why you have less fathers in the home. So redlining in the prison industrial complex.
Exactly. Don't commit the crime, you won't be in prison. They just want to have an excuse to commit crime. Personally, that's what I think. Best example of this: just go to South Africa. It used to be a very beautiful country until the beginning of the mid 1990s. Right now, I saw Durban, South Africa. My God, sad to see, man. Sad to see. I personally believe we have to go back to the good old days, establish a more stronger approach when it comes down to crime. We need to clean up some of our cities. We have to.
Two main caveats to less fathers in the home.
We've done the opposite of the prison industrial complex. Violent offenders are being released into society and committing crime in record numbers right now.
And nonviolent offenders are being held on petty charges.
No, they're not.
I've personally done the numbers on
how did that guy get out after 14 times? George Floyd 9 times. Do you realize 11 times arrested is the average murderer?
And you got people in there for weed charges that's in there for...
It's not a thing. It's less than 0.5%
personally
of federal penitentiaries.
And that's the thing. When you tell somebody that personal knowledge don't matter because the stats matter more,
now he's acting like a woman. Now he's acting like a woman. My personal feeling, like now he's acting like a woman.
I know somebody right now that's in jail for small shit, but I know somebody else that did some big shit and they out.
Small shit, keep defining small. So he had a joint on him?
Selling weed.
He's in prison right now because he had a joint.
But
you're saying, PJ, you need to react to the occult Kabbalah, the Antichrist U.S. manifestation, and how to avoid the mark of the beast is far more interesting. I don't know what that.
A small amount
one time.
I don't know what's that.
One time he got caught selling. One time a small joint he was selling.
No,
let's talk about small things. Let's talk about it. What is it really?
That's what I'm saying. If you want to frame it in the one-time small joint, that's a strong man argument. I'm saying.
What is he in for?
I don't know how much he had, but it was.
And one time?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was one time.
He got caught one time selling.
No, I don't know. It wasn't his first time. No.
Okay, so he got caught multiple times, and he was selling weed.
But every time wasn't the same thing.
Do you know how many people die from laced weed?
That's what Tucker Carlson.
You know about the fentanyl problem in this country?
Yeah, I do know about fentanyl.
You know that most people aren't trying to get fentanyl, right?
But
weed itself never killed anybody.
I'm about to say fentanyl ain't our thing.
No, what I'm saying is, do you realize why trafficking drugs is a problem? You said a little thing. Can I tell you that if I had a white friend who was caught trafficking drugs, and I don't think weed should be outlawed, by the way, it's bullshit. Just to be clear. But if I had a white friend who was arrested the umpteenth time for selling a brick of weed, I would go, yeah, that makes sense. We would expect it.
Not for weed.
Of course. Selling weed, selling a
selling weed, because you're selling weed, but you don't know what you're putting that. We're not holding anybody accountable for just selling weed for some. I don't know what you're putting in that weed. There's no regulations in that weed, so we don't even know. It's Tucker Carlson interview about AI, called in the future where we're heading down toward. Yeah, I saw that. It's interesting. I might react to it tomorrow if I have time. That looks very interesting.
Giant brick of weed multiple times? Yes.
And
those are choices.
And at the same time, I know people personally that like.
Sure,
you got dudes out here like selling all kinds of other shit. I ain't gonna even put names on it, but you got dudes out here selling all kinds of other shit and they free. They've been arrested a couple times too, but they back out.
But at what point was it, hey, you know what? Once you've been arrested for trafficking, for selling drugs, if you do it again, that's kind of on you.
Cocaine, man, we'll let you back out for cocaine. Oh, meth, don't worry about it. Sit in the pen.
You said a little thing.
Voted for that system. I hate to just keep stopping it, but you guys wanted that system. I don't.
Going back home.
$2 super chat for Jackass. Those comments of black men are very. Try to keep those comments away.
Oh no, 8 to 9 years, you done.
Okay, how about this? Someone who goes out and commits multiple crimes and felonies, if we do doesn't get any reparations.
That documentary
because the white kid who didn't break the law, who never had any slaves, and his forefathers shouldn't be paying for someone who's a serial offender. Could we do that math? Would that be fair?
No.
Nope? Okay.
No.
Absolutely.
And the reason why, once again, because
I'm trying to find some common ground, because that white kid...
And I'm trying to tell you, you're trying to start the starting point right here when you're not factoring in what happened to get that kid in that low-income, impoverished environment that created the criminal that he ended up being.
Oh my God, this is what we're doing. It's not crime, it's poverty. Then why do poor white people...
Jackass Whiskey, I don't know if he's trolling or not. I mean, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I don't know if he's
will not commit violent crime at the same rate.
They
do.
No, they don't.
It's just usually different types of crime.
No, they do not.
They do.
It's a fact, dude.
Y'all just shovel them all
They
in the
just
trailer
different
park,
types.
act
Yeah,
like
they just
don't
different
exist.
types of
No,
crime.
no,
And then
we
they go
don't
off.
we don't shovel in the trailer
hills and
park.
live-
They stealth.
They go off in the hills and live amongst the rest of the toothless hillbillies, but they do.
You don't hear it.
Yeah, they just don't.
We're talking about statistical realities.
There's no cameras over there.
The young white male, when the young white male is the real threat to America as it stands.
You know what? You're right. I agree. You're right about that. Because young white males are going to be the majority with guns, and if you keep telling them that they're fucking criminals and they should pay for people's bad decisions, you don't want to see them angry. Because they've never been angry. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at young men, and they're way, way more angry than I ever was.
Well, if
and I
they're
listen
angry,
to them.
why they could? Well, if
So they're
that
getting
angry,
their
why-
ass kicked.
If they're that angry, why they only killing each other in their communities? When's the last time you? I mean, how many? Let's look at recently.
That's a good
The
question.
shootings
Why are
that
they not
have
killing
happened-
black people?
No, you know
Why are young white
but
people
here's
not?
the point, because they're able to understand
the
that
ones that's pushing
these
for
are
the
not
Civil
the
War, they
problem.
want to.
They're not. Listen, they're able to understand that. You know what? Perhaps I've been looking at it and I've been taught wrong. Maybe the problem lies with the person who I've been looking up to for all my guidance. Because listen, I mean, think about it. Even with the most, and let me tell you this, and I'm going on record as saying this. I don't care who you are and what your political dissidence is. There's no justification for going out taking the life of someone. Just because you have a different opinion of mine doesn't mean I'm going to get angry enough to say I'm going to go out and shoot you, right? When you go, when everybody asks me, because I got people who ask me, man, what did you think about this incident with Charlie Kirk? I say, you know what? People are not going to want to talk about it. I say, but this here was really a situation where this kid, more than likely, wasn't angry because of what was happening in Black America.
No, he wasn't. That wasn't.
He was angry because of the fact that Charlie Kirk had a different opinion about people who are
100%.
homosexuals. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that was the cause that I believe in my mind personally that led him to say, you know what? This has got to be stopped because of the fact this guy is talking about someone who I love. Okay, so let's talk about that. That crime really
Let's talk
probably
about that.
could be
Like this guy, when it comes down to landing the plane, bro, like it's a pain in the ears, man.
looked
real
at
pain
more as
guy.
a crime of passion versus a political outcry for difference. You understand?
That's definitely
No, it's political assassination. But here's one thing we can all agree on, right? The guy who shot Charlie Kirk, okay, his roommate, his lover, was a dude who was claiming he was transitioning to a woman. You're just fucking gay at that point,
You're just
right?
gay. Let's call it for what it is.
Right?
Yeah, you're just gay.
Can we all agree on that? It's like, he's not even a chick yet.
My question is, like, out of that tragedy, why did the next day Black communities have to get threats?
They did.
Yes, they did. Southern University.
You're
personally
you're
tied
talking to the
Southern
wrong guy,
University.
pal.
No, I'm just asking.
I can tell you who got the
Southern
threats.
University in Baton Rouge.
No.
I'm personally tied to that school.
No, you know who got the threats? Let me
Southern
explain.
University got one.
You're
The next
turning
day.
this into a race thing where I agreed that it's not. But let me tell you something. Every single vigil, every single memorial, where, by the way, both black and white conservatives tried to mourn peacefully their own, desecrated, attacked, assaults, even in war, they let you bury your dead. And that's because of radical LGBTQAIP. That's not a race thing at all, but it's the same wing that's pushing reparations. So when you're linking arms with them, we need to hear you disown those people too.
So here's the thing. There's a
those
large
two problems should not be tied together.
Hold on, let me finish.
Joy Reid
There's
does.
a large contingent of Black America that does disown them. They don't speak for us.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, on the right, there's the Jared Taylors and the all of these different people, these super Christian nationalist dudes. I don't see nobody on the right separating themselves from him.
Well, we don't need to because Richard Spencer and David Duke voted for Biden and Harris. Sorry, David Duke endorsed Jill Stein.
Richard Spencer, though.
What I'm saying is white
talking about
supremacists don't vote Republican.
Jared
they vote
Taylor,
Democrat.
Jared Taylor did.
No,
And he encouraged
no,
all
no.
of his people to.
Jared Taylor is not the, first off, he's not in charge of the KKK or like that. He's one who's
No.
talked about race and IQ.
The
And
American
I don't know that he
Renaissance
did vote
movement.
for Donald Trump. But I
he's
do
got
know
a
that
lot of
actually
people, the Patriot Front and all of them dudes subscribe to that.
there's nothing that's conservative about white supremacy. That's why they don't vote conservative. They vote Democrat. They're socialists. But the issue here that we're
Richard
talking about
Spencer,
is, again,
yeah,
I agree
he was pretty open voting for Democrat. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
with you on Charlie
And I
Kirk.
think because he understands who Biden was. Biden was simply a guy that was brought up in segregation era. So he understood.
It's not political. That's why I'm going, I don't think that you realize you pivoted it into a race issue and said black people were more at risk.
Well, you just asked why we didn't separate ourselves from the
No,
extremists.
I
and
said
I'm saying,
after.
why don't y'all separate yourselves from the extremists?
Well, of course we do.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, they suck.
I haven't seen that. I personally haven't seen that.
We all do.
You
It's never enough.
I pay attention to all that stuff.
Yeah,
we all do. Donald Trump did. He was still able to read. He said, I'm not talking about white supremacists and neo-Nazis who are horrible and should be condemned totally. The media cut it out. Did you know that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, you probably heard he said there were fine people on both sides, right?
I heard that clip.
Right before that, he goes,
look,
look, I'm not saying white supremacists are neo-Nazis who should be condemned totally, but outside of that, you had on this monument argument, fine people on both sides.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
Why do you think the media lied to you?
But if he said if that's true, then let me ask you a question.
It is true. I can show you the clip.
Well, why did he not sue those media networks like he said when the interview with Kamala Harris was edited?
He did, and he won.
Well, why was that not publicized?
Why do you think? You think the news agencies want to publicize their losers?
That was going to be my next point. Is media does what it does on both sides.
No, the media is incredibly left.
See, that's the point.
If you line up the
we always
media,
have is because when one person says, well, there's problems on your side too,
sure,
you say, well, no, you dismiss those, and you say, we're just going to point to your problems.
No, name me one right-wing source of media. Name me one outside of Fox News.
Acknowledging y'all's.
Yeah, guys, with the $2 super chat, say I ain't. So I have a. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's all I have to say, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Name me one outside of Fox News. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC. Local. Name me one outside of Fox News that's conservative. You can't.
Breitbart.
That's not a mainstream outlet. Breitbart. Then we could go Salon. Then we could go HuffPo. For years in this country, ABC, NBC, CBS. Now you go CNBC, MSNBC, CNN.
And once again, all of them are left. Shit. All of them got their shit.
All of them are left.
Yes.
They cannot meet.
New York Times.
And like women, they have to
go through them.
Yeah,
we have to agree on that. Hey, that's why you were lied to.
But that's the thing. People lose the ability to think critically, think for themselves, and they just lean whatever way the publication or the platform is telling them.
Right.
Now it's up to people that run these platforms and publications to be responsible with their words and how they're leading people. But you got one half of the country that's purely led to think that these people are bad, and then that's all it is. It's just
I think they're bad. I think people who cut out Donald Trump saying, not saying white supremacists and who should be condemned. I think the media that cut out on January 6th, where he said, of course, make your voices heard peacefully, patriotically, but peaceful. You have to be peaceful.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
And they cut that out. I think that media is bad.
Statement when this is the same guy who says if you want your country, come down to D.C. and fight like hell or not.
He did in that same speech. He said, "Fight like hell, peacefully, has to be done peacefully." You know who else said fight like hell? Kamala Harris.
But that's the biggest argument. Well, how can you have a peaceful? Somebody says, you know what? I'm going to tell you like.
We're gonna act like fight like hell is an expression. Oh, come on, you're smarter than that. Fight like hell is an expression. Joy Reid uses it. Kamala Harris uses it. Biden used it. Barack Obama used it. Every single one. It's all attributed to violence to Donald Trump.
All of those platforms, networks that you and Travis just so eloquently exchanged.
Mine was not eloquent.
How many of those are ran by black people? None of them. We don't control shit. Once again, why we always get the blame for everything? We don't control nothing.
What percentage of commentators? Are black?
I don't know. I don't watch mainstream.
It's about 25. It's about 25%, despite being 12% of the population.
But they still working on a platform that is not controlled or ran by black people.
So this is crazy.
We don't discriminate.
So when you lay out responsibility,
Is Van Jones not black? Joy Reid not black?
He black.
Sonny Hostin not black?
Black, yes.
They're allowed to express their opinion.
Is he on the Van Jones network?
This is crazy.
Is Van Jones
Joy Reid's numbers were dog shit. That's why she got fired. Just like Jimmy Kimmel.
Van Jones network.
So now Jimmy Kimmel's numbers are bullshit, but nevertheless, though, you had a national outcry where ABC had to retract and bring him back. I mean,
someone from the left also shot up an ABC affiliate. Someone from the left also shot up an